Have you ever felt like life just stopped making sense? The ambitions you chased, the people you leaned on, even the routines you once found comforting, they all feel like they've lost their meaning. But let me tell you, this isn't a crisis. It's an awakening. It's a moment when Allah gently nudges your heart, urging you to pause and reflect. He's opening a door, a chance to realign your life with purpose, clarity, and His infinite wisdom. Today we'll explore 5 meaningful lessons that can deepen your bond with Allah and help you navigate life's challenges with purpose and clarity. These lessons aren't just ideas to think about, they're practical reminders grounded in faith. Reminders that can guide you through this phase of transformation and bring you closer to the life Allah has destined for you. And before we begin, let's remember, this path you're walking is not a mistake or an accident. It's part of Allah's plan for you, a journey meant to refine your heart and prepare you for something greater. By the end of this video, my hope is that you'll find not just answers, but a newfound strength and serenity in embracing this process. Number 1. The awakening of purpose. Have you ever paused for a moment and asked yourself, is this all there is to life? That question, though unsettling, is often the beginning of something profound. It's the nudge from Allah to reflect, to seek, and to rediscover your true purpose. Think about it. How often do we chase after worldly goals, only to find them empty once achieved? A better job, a bigger house, more recognition, yet the void remains. This feeling isn't a curse, it's a sign. Allah is reminding you that your soul wasn't created for this dunya alone, but for something far greater. Now let me ask you, when was the last time you opened the Quran, not just to read, but to truly reflect on its guidance? When did you last find comfort in dhikr, whispering Astaghfirullah for the countless times we've strayed? These aren't just rituals, they are lifelines pulling us closer to the very purpose we were created for. The Quran beautifully says, "And I did not create the jinn and mankind except to worship me." When you realign your life with this purpose, everything begins to make sense. The trials, the setbacks, even the loneliness. They're not random, they're the steps Allah is using to bring you back to Him. My brothers and sisters, ask yourself, are you ready to embrace this awakening? Because when you do, you'll start to see life's struggles not as burdens, but as pathways to something far greater. Number 2. The beauty of surrender. There comes a time in everyone's journey when the weight of expectations, failures, and constant striving becomes unbearable. It feels like no matter how much you try, something is always missing. This is the moment when surrendering to Allah becomes not just a choice, but a necessity. Now, surrender doesn't mean giving up. It means letting go of the illusion that you are in control of everything. Think about it. How often do we stress over things that are entirely beyond our grasp? Relationships, careers, the future. It's all in Allah's hands. Take a moment and reflect. When was the last time you made dua, not asking Allah to change your situation, but asking Him to change you, to give you patience, strength and trust in His plan? The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, taught us, indeed, Allah does not look at your appearance or wealth, but He looks at your hearts and actions. And yet, how often do we chase appearances and material gain, neglecting the condition of our hearts? My dear brothers and sisters, this dunya was never meant to be perfect. It's a test, a temporary stop on the way to our true home. Surrendering to Allah doesn't just free you from stress, it fills your heart with peace. Think about it. The next time you're overwhelmed, instead of asking, "Why me?" try asking, "Ya Allah, what are you teaching me through this?" This shift in mindset transforms pain into purpose, confusion into clarity. So, ask yourself, Are you ready to surrender and trust that Allah's plan is far better than anything you could ever imagine? Number 3. The silent power of patience. In a world where everything is about instant gratification, patience feels like a lost art. Yet it's one of the most profound lessons Allah teaches us through life's tests. Think about this. How often do we find ourselves frustrated when things don't happen on our timeline? A job opportunity missed, a relationship not working out, or a dream delayed. But here's the truth. Allah's timing is always perfect. Let's pause for a moment. Imagine planting a seed. You water it, nurture it, but it doesn't sprout overnight. Does that mean it's not growing? Beneath the surface, roots are forming, preparing for a strong foundation. Similarly, when life feels stagnant, it's often because Allah is preparing you for something greater. The Quran beautifully reminds us, indeed, with hardship comes ease. It's not just a promise, it's a reality we've all witnessed. Think back to a time when you faced a hardship that seemed impossible to overcome. Didn't Allah open a door you couldn't have imagined? Patience isn't about waiting, it's about trusting. Now let me ask you, when was the last time you truly reflected on the wisdom behind your struggles? Maybe that delayed success was protecting you from harm. Perhaps that failed relationship was making space for something better. Every no from Allah is a redirection, not a rejection. Patience isn't passive. It's active faith in Allah's plan. So, the next time you're tempted to rush into something or question why things aren't going your way, pause. Remind yourself that even in waiting, Allah is working. Number 4. Letting go. Letting go to let Allah work. One of the hardest lessons we face is learning to let go of control, expectations, and the weight of our own plans. We hold on so tightly to how we think things should go, don't we? Whether it's a relationship, a career goal, or even how we imagine our future, letting go feels like losing. But in reality, it's the first step toward peace. Here's a question for you. Have you ever noticed how much lighter you feel after finally surrendering something that's been weighing on your heart? That's not a coincidence. It's Allah reminding you that His plan is better than anything you could ever design for yourself. And whoever relies upon Allah, then He is sufficient for him. This is not just a verse, it's a lifeline. Think about the story of Prophet Ibrahim, peace be upon him. When he was commanded to leave his family in the barren desert of Makkah, he didn't question Allah's wisdom. He trusted. And what happened? From that barren land, the blessed Zamzam water sprung forth, and Makkah became a center of spirituality for the entire world. Now, bring this closer to your own life. What are you holding on to that might be holding you back? Maybe it's a toxic relationship you're afraid to leave, or a plan that isn't aligning with your reality. Letting go doesn't mean you failed. It means you're making space for Allah's wisdom to guide you. So, take a moment and reflect. Are you trusting Allah enough to let Him write your story, or are you still gripping the pen, trying to force your version of the ending? Let go. Let Allah work. Number 5. The wisdom in unanswered prayers. My dear brothers and sisters, have you ever found yourself frustrated, wondering why a heartfelt dua hasn't been answered? It's a struggle many of us face, a moment where doubt creeps in, whispering, "Is Allah even listening?" But here's the truth. Sometimes what feels like an unanswered prayer is actually a profound blessing in disguise. Think about this. You might be asking Allah for something you deeply desire, a job, a relationship, a goal. But what if what you're asking for would lead to harm you cannot foresee? Allah, in His infinite wisdom, shields you from it. He tells us in the Quran, "But perhaps you hate a thing, and it is good for you, and perhaps you love a thing and it is bad for you, and Allah knows, while you know not. Consider the story of Prophet Yusuf, peace be upon him. He prayed for freedom when he was imprisoned unjustly, but Allah had a greater plan. That delay wasn't a denial, it was the preparation for something far greater, his rise to power and the saving of an entire nation. The delay was the setup for the ultimate success. In our daily lives, it's hard to see the bigger picture when we're in the thick of disappointment. But remember this, every dua is heard. Allah may answer it in one of three ways. He may give you what you ask for, replace it with something better, or store it as a reward for you in the hereafter. Isn't that a comforting thought? So instead of despairing over what seems unanswered, ask yourself, what could Allah be protecting me from? What greater good could He be preparing me for? This shift in perspective turns frustration into gratitude and deepens your trust in Allah's plan. My dear brothers and sisters, as we close, remember that this journey we're on is not without purpose. Every trial, every unanswered prayer, every moment of silence from those around us, it's all part of a grander design. Allah is not neglecting you, He's preparing you for something greater, something that perhaps only your heart and faith can carry. If this video resonated with you, I encourage you to share your reflections in the comments. Perhaps start with a dua like, Ya Allah, guide me through the unseen wisdom in my life. Let it be a reminder to yourself and others that faith is about trusting Allah's plan, even when it's unclear. And if you're seeking to explore more about how Allah shapes our lives in ways we often don't realize, click on the video showing on your screen right now. It dives into how Allah's love and guidance manifest in unexpected ways. Until next time, may Allah bless you and keep your heart steadfast.